How's it going, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to another episode of the testing sessions. As I've been talking about, and in comments and stuff, and letting you guys know, the people that have been asking to see DDD in a testing sessions video, we're bringing it to you guys now. I made a combo video recently with this, and a few weeks back, also a deck profile. But the deck profile, of course, is right upon the screen here. List has not changed at all from the previous deck profile. So you guys know how this works. We're gonna go play 2 random matches. I think 3 is a little too much. I think 2 is a good number. I've thought about actually just recently contemplated maybe doing 1 match per thing, but I feel like doing 2 allows us to learn a little bit more, which is more valuable. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into this. Of course, a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist, my sponsor of this channel. If you guys are picking up any playmat, sleeves, dice, deck boxes, etc., check them out down in the description below, and you can use that discount code WinnerKills10 off to save 10% off your entire order. They got a buy 2 get 1 free sale on their tournament ready sleeve, so get in on that if you haven't already. And if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, do not forget to use my affiliate link in the description down below. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get in to this. If you want to get in on some of the bloopers and outtakes or just behind the scenes stuff on the channel, consider becoming a member today. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to queue up some random games here, and we'll see what we can pull off. All right, so it looks like we got an opponent here. Hopefully we don't lose connection or they quit out after the first game, because that seems to be a reoccurring theme here. But with this given hand, as I've said many times before, and is probably pretty well known within DDD, is that when we get an opening hand, we want to try to have the complete set, which is usually the consisting 3 cards of Swirl Slime, Necro Slime, Lamia. Kepler on board obviously helps to great extent, and we should be able to get that here by grabbing the Necro Slime off the gate and then using this Where Art Thou to go ahead and get our Lamia. Now, the only factors that play into how this board will turn out is obviously my ability to play the deck, and my opponents having any sort of hand traps. So that'd be the one main deciding factor. So I'm gonna go for the combo that I'm pretty comfortable with right now, at least being able to pull off here on camera consistently, and that is going to be pulling off our basically formula into Satellite Warrior play. And that's going to involve us, again, doing this combo here, synchroing these off into the Gal Alexander, linking these off into, of course, Kara Sheep. Now here we're going to go ahead and use the Necro Slime. We're going to banish it and, the normal Genghis, but here we're make sure we actually click the right button and summon Big Genghis. By banishing that little Genghis, we're going to trigger the effect of Kara Sheep here. That is going to bring out Lamia right there. I usually try to put it right underneath the Kara Sheep, just because, it doesn't take up too much room. It doesn't clog up our zone, so to speak. So now here, you can link off the Genghis and the Lamia for Needle Fiber, or you can link off the Kepler and the Lamia. It doesn't make too big of a difference. I'm going to go for the Kepler and the Lamia. We'll leave the big Genghis on the board. It doesn't make ultimately too big of a difference here. But I'm gonna go for Ghost. We'll summon out Ghost, and then this is gonna trigger this effect here to bring out Lamia, and then just like that, we are going to now synchro into Crystal Wing. Arguably, you could go into something like Borreload Savage Dragon. There's tons of different ways to sort of stem out combos from this point, but again, this is a combo that I'm at least familiar with pulling off right here in this current situation. Making Crystal Wing right now, this is again the last chance that we'll have to be able to make a non-DD monster. So now we're going to link these 2 off and chain link block, importantly, the Gilgamesh with the effect of that DD Ghost. We'll be able to copy a card in our Graveyard Descent. It's Lamia is our only option. We're obviously not going to want to negate. We'll dump another Lamia and place our 2 important scales, which is the Apocalypse, and the other Ragnarok. Now, this is just the way that I like to do this personally. Right now, we're going to use this effect here. Importantly, banish Ghost, because we need to put back the banished Genghis we have back into the grave. I banished the big Genghis here. Doesn't make too big a difference. I like leaving this effect of Ragnarok here until the very end. We're not going to use Ragnarok here. We're also going to keep in mind we're going to have to take a lot of damage at the end of this turn here. So do not be alarmed. But now we're going to use Lamia. Send off the Gilgamesh. Importantly, we need to send off Gilgamesh. And we also need to make the Siegfried not in the column or one of the zones that the cross sheet points to, because we need that zone open for formula and cross sheet plays. Now on the summon of the Siegfried, I like to use the effect of the Ragnarok. And again, this Ragnarok, or this Genghis rather, has to go into the zone that cross sheet points to in order to make everything work during the next turn. That's all we can do. End phase will take 2,000. We're down to 4K. I believe that's the most amount of life you can take with any given combo. You know, thousands from both Ragnarok and Gilgamesh, and then he has Dark Ruler no more. Oh, man. That is the... What are you going to do? That's just Yu-Gi-Oh! Nowadays. If they have it, they have it, right? Yeah, that's completely fine. We're just going to basically let him see if he can break our board. The main thing I'm worried about, though, right now is, of course, the ever-looming threat of Purgatrio, because we have such low life points after resolving our effects. Yeah, so that's fine. That's fine. We can let this all go through. Chaos King Apocalypse does another effect. This card in your hand or graveyard. You can target 2 face-up spell or trap cards you control. Special summon the rest of this turn. Except for Fiend type monsters, destroy the target card and reduce special summon this card. So yeah, we don't need to use that effect. There's no value in destroying these unless we needed to possibly fear being burned to death by our contract next turn, which again, it depends here. I mean, we're safe from actual battle damage this turn, so we actually are not having to worry about being OTK'd. It's just more so the pressure is on him to be able to completely clear our field. Which again, I mean, he can still bring out Purgatrio. We won't take any damage, of course. But at this point, we're really trying to make the best out of a very, very poor situation. I mean, if you make a board, you get Dark Rulered, you get Dark Rulered. At the end of the day, there's really not a whole lot you can do. DDD, very going first heavy deck. I guess arguably you could, if you were deadly, like horrifically afraid, I guess is a better way to say it, of Dark Ruler, where you could possibly main deck 3 Solemn Judgments, but that's taking it a little too far. I mean, still can't forget the fact that cards like Ash and Droll still hurt this deck greatly. Same thing with Call by the Grave. Or not Call by the Grave, DD Crow rather, which basically is Call by the Grave to an extent. So I feel like having Call by is still very important. Although there is one card here that it is searchable within the archetype to prevent specifically against getting Dark Rulered as swiftly as we did here, which I was imagining we're probably going to get Dark Rulered maybe a couple times during the filming of this video. So that's not super surprising to me. But one thing you can play is the Dark Contract with the Witch, which basically, if we had Dark Contract with the Witch, we had it set, you know, the continuous trap card, we could have flipped it in response to Dark Ruler, because again, only monster effects cannot activate in response to Dark Ruler. So what we could do at that point is activate Siegfried in response to the Contract with the Witch, targeting the face-up Dark Ruler no more and negating its effects, you know, thus saving our whole field. So I guess it's kind of good that we got Dark Ruler no more, so I could bring up that specific counter to Dark Ruler no more within DDDs, but it's a very niche counter. We would have only had the luxury to search and set up such a counter if we would have already opened Dark Contract with our hand. That way we could have used the Kepler Surge on Dark Contract with the Witch. It's something I might actually side in. I'm currently siding the Dark Contract with Eternal Darkness, because I find that with more synchro heavy decks running around, you know, like Eldritch specifically, and just a lot of spam decks that use Auroradon and the Needle Fiber, you know, being able to turn off synchros is really more relevant so than ever. It is a pretty good side deck card, especially alongside things like Vanity's Fiend, etc., etc. So I don't know where I'm still at with it. I feel like, I mean, the Dark Ruler main deck thing, I guess, is starting to become more popular. And this guy is also going so far as to tech the barrier statue. you know, to be able to stop Needle Fiber. I'm actually going to do this now. Just so he doesn't... Just so we can get this Apocalypse out on the board. Yeah, well, if he wants to burn a negate on that with his Mecha, but that's completely fine. We might as well get use out of the Chaos King Apocalypse while we can. I think that's perfectly fine. And we'll see if he has a response. Again, the other good thing here is the fact that we are at least safe from the battle phase here. I wish Needle Fiber was one of those cards that we could still use under this, but alas, I don't think we can. Even if it does banish itself for cost, yeah, it still activates on the field, so I don't think its effect will go through. At least that's how I'm thinking it works in my head. I could be completely wrong. World Legacy Succession, that's completely fine. As it stands, we do have a few monsters he can't get over, mainly Siegfried and Chaos King. So we're good in that regards. I can imagine seeing pretty much everything else getting cleared here. These 3 cards included. We could also see Avermax, which means we're also probably in a really bad spot. And there's Lib, okay. That's probably going to grab Secrets, I would imagine. For just additional negation and locking down of the next turn. Maybe Secrets. Not Secrets, Whisper maybe, who knows. But yeah, just Secret. And then we'll probably see Avermax here. Spin a card, battle phase, clear 2 more cards. At least that's what I would do. Oh, access code talker. Even better. Okay, so he does have a few attributes in the grave. He has fire, he has light, and that's it actually. But, man, what a way to start off this testing sessions, man. That is the brute reality sometimes. I mean, if you're playing combo, I feel like the way the meta is, there's so much combo in the game. I mean, DDD seems very mild in terms of combo. Even though what we did there was a giant combo. I mean, when you look at decks like the Adamantipator deck and the Synchron Eldritch, there's those. I feel like those decks are just such high levels above. It's sort of like forced the community into a corner to like starting to main Dark Lord no more, whereas things like Nibiru aren't enough anymore, which is really strange to say. We'll add back a contract because why not? If he'll let us, of course. I believe, yeah. So Mechaba is burning the negate, which is good. He's not discarding Alistair. The good thing sometimes is when the opponent is forced to discard Alistair during their turn, after they've just the same turn that they summon Mechaba. So our whole field pretty much getting wiped here. But the good news is he only has a Mechaba, and I think we know he has the Alistair in hand again, which is unfortunate because, again, like I said, the nice thing about your opponent burning Mechaba on their turn, at the turn that it's summoned, is that oftentimes you kind of are a little bit more sure that they don't have a monster negate in hand, especially with a deck like this where he's mixed these 2 archetypes together. You know, they do work very well. But if we were to simply put a monster here, a crucial monster effect we need to activate, you know, that's the safe haven we could essentially do it from. And I believe the only... I've accidentally hit battle phase, okay. That's not something I wanted to do. But I believe the only effect we have in Graveyard is to be able to use Lamia. So I'm going to go ahead and play Desires here. And we'll see what we draw. We draw Copernicus and Dark Contract. There's really not a whole lot we can do to get out of the situation. It's a very, very rough situation to be in. Let's go ahead and activate Dark Contract here. Which I'm positive this will go through. Because I don't believe he has... the only card in his hand is Alistair. Let's see, what do we want to add here? We need just something to establish like an okay field. Something that we can put after we like bait out a monster negation from Mechaba in the same column that as Mechaba is. Some sort of floodgate. Maybe something like Kal-Yuga would be very, very clutch to get into right now. But just getting there is going to be tough. We have scales of 1 and 10. What else is in our extra deck here? Banished, extra deck. Ooh, I think we want to perform a pendulum summon here. Yeah, we have scales 1 and 10. That's like almost perfect. It is perfect, actually. Activate. We'll only be able to pendulum summon 1 from our extra deck. But if we can get both of these out of our extra deck, that's pretty good. Now, we do not... Actually, we can use the effects here. We're just going to use this one. And we'll target the Alexander. Why not? Actually, don't know if that was a good idea to do. Hopefully, he'll actually use his secrets here and match sort of my misplay with a misplay of his own. We'll see. And the reason I shouldn't have activated that... okay, so he's using that. That's fine. But the reason I shouldn't have activated that is because if he negates that with Mechaba, then we're kind of out of luck with like the only play that I really had. Which I'm actually not sure here. Let's see. Is this Alistair still bent? Okay, so no, we can kind of assume that the Alistair is in his hand. So we're gonna summon this. And that just happens immediately, and he can't even respond to that, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. So we did get away to get to Caliuga. I just made a little bit of a misstep in the process. Again, my apologies. Trying to balance so many things here at once. So we're going to go into battle phase now. I've already used my battle phase because I'm a dingus and accidentally clicked battle phase. That threw me off a bit there. My apologies. But ideally, we'd go into battle phase and run over the purple because, you know, 2 purples is better than 1. But we'll see what he can do to get over this Caliuga. He's pretty much exhausted of a lot of his board removal stuff. And again, we were able to have that safe haven in that column that the Mechaba is in. But we'll see. We'll see what he can do here. Didn't really need to use the Spell and Trap Destruction effect just yet. But we'll see how long we can hold out, essentially. And so yeah, the dreaded Nightmare Unicorn. Yeah, there's not much we can do there. We're just gonna go ahead and surrender. Unfortunate. Yeah, so even though we did have a little bit of a comeback there, and I did misclick a little bit by accidentally hitting the battle phase thing, yeah, just ultimately didn't matter. He had the easy out for it. So we're gonna side in here. We just really don't have too much. I'm gonna side in actually the Dark Contract with Eternal Darkness, just so we have something to potentially activate in response. I guess we could kind of go with Twin Twisters since he is playing Invoked, and he does play probably Meltdown, assumingly. Just something to potentially chain in response to a Dark Lord No More that isn't, you know, a monster effect, obviously, since we won't be able to do that. So what I'm going to side out here is, let's see, a copy of Where Art Thou. We'll go with the go with a copy of Copernicus, and one other card here we'll just go ahead and take out an Allure, because I think that's fine. We'll save that, and we'll go first. And again, okay, so we did open Dark Contract with the Eternal Darkness, which is good. But the only other issue is that the rest of our hand is extremely lackluster. So we're going to have to go ahead and normal summon this. And then go ahead and activate Where Art Thou. And we can take Kepler here if we wanted to, but I guess hold it for next turn. I'm going to take Lamia, because I think we can at least pull something off. So let's go ahead and use Lamia now. We'll send Ghost to the grave, just like that. And then we can just pull off the Gilgamesh lock. As bad as that is, that's what we'll do. So Gilgamesh, for these, we'll go with our 2 best extender scales right here. We are locked into DDD at the moment. which is fine. Actually, we can make a lot better of a play here than I thought. It took a little brain power. So we're going to banish both of these. We're going to make a Siegfried here because that's really all we can do. And what we're also going to do here is use the effect of Ghost, importantly, to put back that Lamia. How we're going to get Lamia out in the field with keeping our eternal contract live is, of course, to... Oh, we already used Lamia's graveyard effect. Okay, that's unfortunate. I guess what I could have done is used Chaos King Apocalypse to banish both of those. I guess it doesn't make too big of a difference. I guess D-Arc is better than nothing. And since we wear Arf that, we'll get our life points back. At least 2K's worth. Yeah, that's all we can do. That's all we can do with that one. Really making the best out of the worst. What we're trying to... I'm going to blindly activate this right now and get out of the way. Because this is a pretty good floodgate. It's pretty okay. I don't know why as soon as I side it in, I hard open it. It's very, very strange. Well, you have 2 DD cards in your Pendulum Zone. Your opponent cannot target monsters in the field with spell trap effects, tribute them for tribute summon, nor use them as material for fusion, synchro, or XD summon. So we're locking him out of his main summoning mechanic, which of course is fusion summoning. Obviously, he does have ways to make links, a lot of ways to get those, but it's all we had. It's all we had. The best play we could make. I was trying to set up a play to get Siegfried out, but we didn't have quite the resources. We had to use Lamia's send effect very early, which if we didn't, obviously would have used it there to get it back up by sending off the Gilgamesh, etc., etc. And now he's just going to basically get to take advantage of our field with all the columns that he can make with them, because we had to place pendulum scales in the first place. I don't know, we might just die to Boral Sword right now. It's really a coin flip, I guess. So he's using Morningstar here, discarding Indigo. I might just save this call by here for whatever he tries to bring back. I think that'll be fine. Yeah, this is like the only good interaction we really have here. He's targeting Indigo. So we're going to get rid of that. All we can do. There's really not much else to be said here, unfortunately. We did pull off our full combo game 1. We were met with a big slap in the face, which is Dark Lord no more. But again, playing this deck, that's something you have to be aware of. Brought up the counter to it specifically, playing the continuous contract traps. And that's probably the best main decked way to out and stop Dark Ruler no more, other than just maining copies of Solemn Judgment. And I guess this game as well, we showed how to make the best out of a very, very poor hand. Granted, we did hard draw our Floodgate side deck card, but we're making do with what we have. So again, it could be much, much worse here. Actually, I don't know how it could be worse, to be honest. So we're just going to go ahead and scoop there. Yeah, that's... this is really not the greatest against Invoked, I suppose. Because they can use stuff from their hand engraved. But I digress. We're going to go ahead and jump in here into another match. That's just unfortunate. There's not much else to be said. Alright, so we found ourselves another match here. We win die roll, which is great. So we're going to go ahead and go first, obviously. That's what we really want to do. Now this hand is not the greatest, so how are we going to fix it and make it better, make it playable? We do need to sort of take advantage of Copernicus here. So with DDD, there's 2 things we need to meet as far as requirements are concerned. One is being able to do fusion, and the other, most importantly, is having a tuner, because some of our best interruptions come from having tuners, obviously Crystal Wing, Siegfried, Savage Dragon alike. So we can grab our tuner here off of this, when of course we still need a way to fusion. So the only way we're going to be able to do that is by normal summoning Copernicus and using this to dump Necroslime to the grave. That's the only way I'm currently seeing a play that can be made. We could even go as far to place this here into the scale, and then use Lamia, as much as I don't want to use Lamia here, to go ahead and summon to the board. We could possibly use the effect of the Ragnarok here. I'm not going to. And instead, what I'm going to do here, and it really does suck that we had to use that Lamia. Did he just no material my Lamia? Are you actually serious right now? Are you actually serious? All right, so I mean, the only play we have at this point is to just go for D-Arc. And we'll gain some life points next turn, if there is a next turn. Because that's, I mean, why would there be a next turn? Yeah, there's really not a whole lot we can do. So I'm just going to pass there. We'll make D-Arc pass. What a nice end board. Why is this guy maining no material? I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's not super outlandish. I was just not expecting it. Of course, it's Dino. All right. These games, man, they've not been the greatest. And I do apologize for that. I mean, I feel like most of it's partially not my fault. I guess we're just getting the bad end of the stick here. I mean, he opened Oviraptor. Like, Oviraptor's Oviraptor. I'm not even gonna entertain the thought of having another turn. So we might as well just go game 2. Game 2, I think it's fine to put in copies of Vanity's Fiend, strictly because if you see it, it's a very, very strong floodgate to be able to open with. And as far as everything else is concerned, I don't think Eternal Darkness is going to be too good here. This card might probably even go out of the side deck for Dark Contract with the Witch, as it's just a better out into some other cards like Dark Lure No More. And it's just better in general since it can be an interruption as well. But we're going to be going first. So I don't want too many non-combo pieces in. So I'm actually going to leave the deck as is with just the Vanity's Rulers in. And we're going to go first. We did not open Vanity's Ruler, but doesn't mean we can't. We do have an Allure of Darkness to resolve. And hopefully it will get us somewhere better. We have duplicates of those, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. And he has Droll and Lockbird, but thankfully we have a Call by the Grave, so we at least get a chance to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Here. And again, Call by the Grave coming in very, very clutch. And then we were talking about this in the first match, like you could arguably main things like, you know, Solemn Judgment to start Dark Lure, but I think, you know, instances like this, having Call by is still very, very good. We have the normal summon here, which sucks. We didn't want to normal summon anything this turn other than Vanity's Fiend. Vanity's Fiend would have been the hookup, would have been the key, but he has Gamma. So that's cool. I really hope he has Oviraptor. What are the odds, man? We didn't draw into a single way to make a fusion play. We didn't draw into a contract. We didn't draw into a Swirl Slime, which is really what we were looking for. So I guess we'll have to end our turn. He's down 3 cards. Because he opened the driver too, which is actually hilarious. And, you know, would it be Dino without opening one of your 7,000 copies of Fossil Dig? No, of course it wouldn't. Or 7,000 copies of Oviraptor, as it were. It's basically like a 40-card deck filled with Oviraptors. And he doesn't even need the Oviraptor in his opening hand because, of course, he's already opened the Oviraptor. I mean, how could I be so silly? Wait a second. He's normal summoning Petty Ranodon. Now I'm confused. But it's essentially Oviraptor. Do you see what I mean here? So he's going to attack into this token here. And he might have misclicked on what he added, but, you know, he's still going to get Oviraptor. So that's going to destroy the baby from deck. And, of course, along with that, he gets the Oviraptor. So, yeah, there's like 90 copies of Oviraptor crammed within this 42-card deck he's running. And I think I'm actually going to entertain the thought of possibly being spared 1 turn since the battle phase has been exhausted. And maybe we can slap a Vanity's Fiend on the board on our next turn. So we'll see what happens. We'll hit the fast forward button here, and I'll see you guys on the other side. We officially lose the game because UCT. All right, we've got ourselves another opponent here. Let's go ahead and see. Okay, first of all, we win die roll. Let's see if we can ascend to combo Elysium. I'm going to normal summon We're going to go ahead and get Dark Contract out of the deck before we Desires. And I'm not going to play Dark Contract until we Desires, because obviously we can sort of pick and choose what cards we need to search still after we Desires. If we draw into any of the coveted combo pieces, which we did not. And let's see here. We banished almost all copies of Necro Slime, which is very unfortunate. So we do at least have a tuner, bare minimum. So what we can do is go ahead and grab a copy of the Swirl Slime. We're going to have to make a fusion play here, obviously. We're going to use the Swirl and the Ghost. Now we want to decide essentially, do we want to go for Flame King Genghis or do we want to go for Dark? I think going for Flame King Genghis makes the most sense. Just like that. We can use the effect here in Grave, which is really important that we do this. Because we're going to need to trigger the effect of the Genghis here. And luckily, we at least have Swirl Slime to do that. So I guess, technically, we don't need to use the Chaos King Apocalypse like I was thinking we were going to. But there is a little bit of some plays that we can make here. First and foremost being to go for Swirl for Ghost. And we do have another Ghost in Grave, which I actually am going to opt to bring out right now. I'm just trying to think here, because we can make a better play here than I was anticipating. It's just the ordering here. I do not want to screw it up too badly, because I can do that very easily. So I'm actually going to go for the Halqifibrax. And he has Phantasme, which is fine. At least it's not Nibiru. I think with this particular board, we should be able to get bare minimum Crystal Siegfried, which is better than I was expecting, because we did open Chaos King Apocalypse. And of course, we're going to need to make Gale Alexander first, which we'll make with these two. Put that there. And then we'll see what we have in our graveyard. We can go basically banish the Genghis and the Ghost for Chaos King. Play that in the scale. And yeah, we'll banish the... We want to keep the Lamia in Grave, if at all possible. So we'll banish Genghis, and we'll banish... we'll banish the... we'll banish Slime. We'll bring this out. That'll trigger the effect of Gale Alexander, which we will bring this out for. And then we can go ahead and... it's actually good that we have this extra Ghost on the field. I suppose we could make Savage Dragon by linking these two off. So it really depends on what we want out of this field, if we want multiple interruptions. And I actually do kind of prefer the multiple interruptions. So let's go ahead and make Crystal. Just like this. And then we're going to use Lamia and Grave. We'll send off the Ghost. And bring this out. And then we'll make Siegfried here. We could make... Yeah, we do not have the extra link in Grave to be able to make Boral Savage here. But we'll still get this. And again, we still have the nice setup of being able to go for... I'm going to set this Desires as a bluff also. But yeah, that's a pretty good turn. Better than I was expecting. But again, we could have gone for Savage by linking off in a Cross Sheep, but it'd be just a random Cross Sheep, albeit. But, you know, we'll go for this. Let's see. This is fine. So it looks like we're playing against some Eldritch. And we actually managed to, you know, go first here against Eldritch, which was nice. Pay 8 to add an Eldritch monster, golden land spell trap from your deck to your hand. I mean, I'm not... I feel like this is going to be something that I go to negate. That's totally fine. And if he has other cards, he has other cards. This is a deck that I'm not ultimately too familiar with. I'm going to make sure I want to have Always Chain on here, because EDO Pro is a bit finicky sometimes with the... when you actually can chain a card like Halqifibrax, mainly so I don't miss... The biggest thing that I'm concerned about here is not missing timing with the Formula Synchron. Basically, we need to activate Needle Fiber in, you know, not in response. I mean, we need to activate it sort of in the open game state, if you will, or things that do not start a chain, so that when Formula comes out, nothing else is resolving. Which technically we should be able to activate on the summon of Linkuriboh, which I don't know why it doesn't let you do that. To me, it doesn't make too much sense. But he's going to try and use Jet Synchron now, which we're going to have Call by the Grave for, which is good, because that means he doesn't get access to Needle Fiber. And, yeah. This guy opened double Jet Synchron. Alright, that's fine. And, I mean, if we really need to, if it does come down to crunch time, we don't need to worry too much about getting the draw off of Formula. But he's going to end the main phase, so now is the perfect time to do it. We're going to go for the Formula. We'll draw a card, and then, importantly here, you know, we can use the effect of Formula to synchro with Siegfried, the card we've already used, to essentially go into the Satellite Warrior here, which I'm actually thinking about keeping the Crystal Wing, but I think we're going to have complications if we don't. So we're going to go with Satellite Warrior, and we're going to activate its effect. We get to clear 3 cards, because I believe we do have 3 Synchros in our graveyard. So we'll clear the 2 cards he just set, and we'll also clear... we'll clear the Phantasme. And if he tries to use Phantasme, we have a Crystal Wing that we can just respond to negate with. And he'll discard a card for that, which is totally fine. So either way, we're still clearing all of those cards, and he's going to surrender, which is nice. Alright, so we're going game 2 here. We can imagine he's going to be going first. I'm putting in Evenly Matched. I'm putting in Twin. I'm probably also going to put Nibiru in, since we did see Jet Synchrons, which is indicative of the fact that he's probably playing a very combo-heavy variant of Eldritch as opposed to just very simple control variants. Let's see, what do we want to side out here? I'm probably going to side out Call by the Grave, since we are going, I can imagine we're going to be going second. We'll side out of Where Art Thou, and we'll also side out a copy of Pot of Desires, and I think that's fine. And we'll see if we can actually come out on top of Eldritch, but I don't draw any side deck cards, so it's fine. Really the only thing we can hope to draw is Twin, or Evenly, which of course are good side deck cards that are live, if we draw them as our 6. That's the most important thing. So he's actually just setting 3 and passing. We draw into Ragnarok as our first thing. A Pointer of the Red Lotus. He has Nibiru and Phantasme in his hand. Okay. We'll go ahead and take a card out of her hand. It's totally fine. I mean, this is one of the hands we get to see his hand, and we know that if we really don't do too much, he's not going to get too much value out of it. And he's losing connection, which is just hilarious that would happen. So, yeah. I think this is actually where I'm going to call this video here. I do apologize if we didn't get too many, you know, well-rounded matches in. I can't tell you guys how many times people have quit out or lost connection over the course of filming these videos. And it's very, very infuriating sometimes, the amount of time I waste sitting here trying to get full games in for you guys. I do apologize. Sometimes I do, I might do it more going forward, is recruit some friends of mine just to try to give me some random games, playing some random decks, so at least I can get a secure full match for you guys. Just something I'm going to try to do going forward, because sometimes some of these random games, they just don't cut it in terms of like logistics wise from a filming standpoint, and it really makes it hard to get some points across over, you know, what decks I'm playing and what decks I end up actually playing against. But yeah, I do apologize if this was a little, you know, not exactly what you're expecting, but of course, any deck that we cover on this series we'll be revisiting down the line. So when we do, hopefully we'll get a better shot at, and hopefully I was able to showcase some things and learn a few things about the deck. One thing particularly is that Dark Ruler No More sucks, and it does hurt our deck quite a bit. And I'm probably going to put Dark Contract with the Valkyrie into the side deck, or Dark Contract with Witch into the side deck, as opposed to Eternal Darkness, because I don't think that card is that great. We were able to pull off our main combo, actually, I think, you know, a few times. One time might have not actually made it into the video. Yeah, and we were able to pull off some other combos as well when we weren't able to see the perfect, ideal combo with DDD, which you're not always going to be able to draw. And I think it's important to still show off those other combos, like where you're still ending on Savage, or not Savage, but like Siegfried Crystal Wing with a Needle Fiber play, and how to get there, essentially. It may not be the best DDD combo ever to exist, but, you know, sometimes you're not always going to have those resources available to you in the first place. But yeah, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to check out our sponsors down in the description below. Of course, that affiliate link to TCG Player, Imperium Duelist, and maybe consider hitting the join button down below to see the footage that didn't make it into this video. Highly recommend you guys do that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, we're going to kill sign out. We'll see you guys in the next one. Lastly, a special thanks to Academic Thick, Travis Harris, and Zors for being my Tier 3 Divine level channel members. Thank you guys so much for generously supporting the channel in the ways that you have. It is greatly appreciated.